we talked about winning and losing.
جبت سماعة تانية، هل الصوت واضح؟
الصوت كويس، واضح حاليا.
تمام.
ممتاز. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, hi. How are you today, Sasabil?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so we talked in our last lesson. What did we talk about? First of all, we completed this lesson and we talked about responses, how to sound happy. If your friend says something good, you can be happy for your friend. You can also, you know, maybe if your friend says something sad, you can also show the correct response by saying, oh dear, what a shame, something like that. Of course, if you're surprised, you can say, wow, or you can say you're joking, or really, if you're surprised. But if it's maybe if it's something normal, you can say, oh, right, for example. So we talked about this. We talked about the right responses, and we also talked about follow-up questions, right? So this means if your friend is telling you about something and you want to continue the conversation, you want your friend to talk, you can always use follow-up questions. So you can say, for example, if it's sad news, you can say what was wrong or what happened, or for example, are you okay now? So you can use that. But if it's a different situation, for example, if your friend said, I went to Istanbul last week, so you can ask questions like, what was it like? Where did you stay? Who did you go with? Where did you go? Which places in Istanbul did you go? So you can ask follow-up questions. This is the meaning of أسئلة المتابعة, follow-up questions. We talked about this. And we also did this. We did some examples. And after that, we talked about a competition, right? And we talked about the meaning of competition and the meaning of prize. And I think Cecile said she entered a drawing competition and she won some. You won some coloring pencils. What did you win, Cecile, in your competition? Coloring pencils?
Yeah.
Nice, very nice. Yeah. So this is an example of a competition, and if you win, of course, if you win, they will give you a prize, right? So we talked about this, and we also read about two very, very different prizes, Jim and Sandra, right? So we talked about these two very different experiences, very different experiences. Which one was better? Was it Jim or Sandra? Which prize was better? And who had a better time? Jim or Sandra? Who can remember? Can you remember? Let's check. Rana, can you remember who had a better trip, or who had a better experience? Was it Jim or was it Sandra?
Jim.
Okay, correct. But why? Why did he have a better experience? What happened in his trip? Where did he go?
To Paris.
Right, that's correct. And what about Sandra? Where did she go?
To Scotland.
Correct, yeah. And Jim, what about, did anything good happen on his trip? Can you remember any good news or something good that happened to him on his trip?
Staying at a very expensive hotel.
Correct. That's one of them. One of the things, yes. He stayed in a very expensive hotel. What else?
And he had coffee by the river.
Correct. This is another nice thing he did. And what about the biggest thing or the most interesting thing that happened to him? What was it? Can you remember?
He asked Naomi to marry him.
Correct. And what did she say?
She said yes.
Exactly, yeah. So it was a very good trip, right? And it was a very happy trip, I think. What do you think?
Yes, it's very happy.
Yeah, nice. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Rana. What about Sandra? Who can tell me what happened to Sandra on her trip? Let's see. Can you tell us, Salsabil? What about Sandra? Can you remember some of the things that happened to her?
Okay. She go to Scotland
She went to Scotland.
and the weather is very bad.
Okay. Is it bad or was it bad?
Bad.
Yeah, but is or was?
What can?
Was, right? Because the story is in the past, right?
Yeah.
So the weather was very bad. Correct, that's right.
And very cold.
It was very cold. Correct. What else happened? Did something else happen?
No, she stayed at
Okay.
hotel.
She stayed at the hotel, correct. But what happened to her boyfriend?
He
What did he do? Can you
I
remember?
don't know. No.
Okay. Manal, can you tell me what happened to Sandra?
A boyfriend left.
Hmm?
Left her and went with the receptionist.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, her boyfriend left her and went with the receptionist. Was it a good weekend for Sandra?
It's trouble.
It was a terrible weekend. Very bad weekend. Terrible. Okay, very nice. That's correct, Manal. Thanks. All right, so now what we want to do is in exercise 4, where is it? Yeah, in exercise 4, we want to read the text again, but this time we want to find the adjectives, okay? So we want to make a list of adjectives and we want to write them. So, so let's write them here. Let's put them on the left side. Let me show you what I want to do. So let's put all of the adjectives we find, let's put them here on the left side. So let's find them. So let's start with Jim. I want you to find the adjective. So all of us, we want to work together and we want to find the adjective. So let's start from the beginning. I won. No, my girlfriend and I went to the airport in a really...
Very expensive, I think.
Yes, Manal?
Very expensive. Expensive. Then we stayed in very expensive.
Correct. Expensive is correct, but there's another one before it.
Big.
Correct. Yes. Big. Expensive. What else?
White.
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 Hot. Hot. Yes.
White man. quite.
No, it's not an adjective. Here, this,
تقريبا كويت مش
because
Long.
we have quiet, and we have quite, and we have quit. They're not the same.
Good.
Yeah. Good, good,
Long.
long, right? What other adjectives can you say?
crowded.
Interesting.
Crowded is correct.
Interesting.
Interesting is correct. This is another adjective.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Correct. Wonderful and beautiful. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so this is the first group. Let's find the other group of adjectives. But first of all, I think let's write them. Let's write them here on the left side so we can move to the next one. So we have big, expensive. We have hot, good. We have long and crowded. And what else do we have? We have interesting, interesting. We have wonderful and beautiful. Wonderful and beautiful. All right, very good. Now, let's check the second story. Let's check the second story, the one about Sandra. Let's do the same thing. Let's find all the adjectives we can and put them in our list. So here is Sandra. After that, what does the question want? I think it wants us to, how many opposites? Okay. So let's start. So I won and we can, so, happy, correct. So happy is correct.
empty
is correct.
Cheap.
Cheap, correct.
Ugly.
Correct.
Small.
Dirty, correct. Bad. Correct.
Cold.
Cold is correct.
Boring.
Correct. What else?
Young.
Young, correct. There's another one before young.
Terrible.
Terrible, correct. But before young, there's another one. There's an adjective between boring and between young. What is it?
Quite.
Not quite. Another one.
early.
Yes. Early is correct.
لا شفتها من بس مرة.
صح. Early. Friendly. ما سميتوهاش.
friendly.
Yeah, friendly is also an adjective. Correct. Yeah, خلاص هم هذا. Okay, so let's write the second group of adjectives. Let's write them. So we have happy, empty, cheap, ugly. Then we have dirty, small, bad. Dirty, small, bad. And we have cold, boring, early. Cold, boring, early. After that, we have young, friendly, terrible. Young, friendly, and terrible. Okay, so this way we found all of the adjectives. Oh, come on. Okay, no problem. So what we want to do is we want to find opposites. Can you find opposites from these adjectives?
Yes.
Okay, let's do the opposites, okay? What about big?
Small.
Small.
Yes, so big, and we have small, correct? Expensive?
Cheap.
Cheap, so we have expensive and we have cheap. Hot?
Cold.
We also have cold. Good?
Bad.
Bad.
Bad, yeah. What about long? We don't have an opposite, long. Okay, so no opposite here. What about crowded? What's the opposite of crowded?
Crowd, empty.
Correct. Crowded and empty. What's the meaning of crowded and empty? You can tell me.
Crowded is a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Sorry.
Correct.
Yes.
صح. Crowded, it means a lot of people. Correct, Manal. And empty?
Empty and nothing people.
No people.
Yes.
Correct. Excellent. Very nice. That's right. What about interesting? What's the opposite?
Boring.
Very good. So interesting and boring. Interesting and boring. What about wonderful? Do we have the opposite here of wonderful? What about beautiful?
Terrible.
Correct. Wonderful is the opposite of terrible, right?
Yes.
What does wonderful mean?
Like amazing.
Like amazing, right?
Yes.
So it means very good. Something very good, right?
Or fantastic.
Or fantastic, correct. And terrible?
Awful.
Yeah, awful. Or very bad. Something not very good, right? Okay. What about beautiful? What's the opposite of beautiful?
Ugly.
Correct. So we have beautiful and we have ugly. Okay, the other ones we don't have the opposites, but let's write the opposites ourselves, okay? So long, what's the opposite of long?
Short.
Short, that's right. And what about the opposite of dirty?
Clean.
Clean, that's correct. What about the opposite of early?
Late.
Correct. Late is correct. What about the opposite of friendly?
Unfriendly.
Unfriendly, that's correct. So we have friendly and we have unfriendly. And what about the opposite of happy?
Unhappy.
Or sad.
Yeah, both are correct. Unhappy or sad, both are correct. Let's write both of them. So you can say unhappy and you can say sad, that's fine. So unhappy and sad or sad. What about, I think we did all of them, right?
Yeah.
Young.
Old.
old, correct. So we have young and we have old. Young, old. Okay, so we found all of the adjectives. So, and we also did the opposite. So that's very good. Now we want to do something, I think, a bit different. Okay. So we finished number 4 because number 4 is asking about adjectives. Now let's talk about something. I don't know if this is new, but I think it's important. So here we're going to talk about very, really, quite, and too. Okay, so we use these words with adjectives, but these words are not adjectives. Okay, so the word very or really, the word quite and too, these are not adjectives. Okay, they have another name. We call these, does anybody know what we call these? Do you know what we call these words? Who knows what we call these words? Does anybody know?
Auxiliary verb.
No, they're not verbs. They're not auxiliary verbs. I think these are new. We didn't talk about them before. Yeah, Basma, correct. Adverbs. These are called adverbs. Okay, so adverbs, we use them with verbs and with adjectives. So you can say, for example, let me give you a simple example. You can say this car is no, I have a better example. Let's say he drives fast. Okay. No, this is not the adverb I want. Let's use the first adjective is better. So if I say this car is expensive, okay? So expensive, what is the word expensive? What is it?
Adjectives.
It's an adjective, right? So expensive is an adjective. But I can also say that car is
too expensive.
Is too expensive, for example. Or I can say that car is very expensive. So you can see that we added another word before the adjective, right? So we added these words too or very, for example, and they make the meaning of expensive, they make it stronger, right? So for example, maybe the price of the first car, maybe let's say the price of the first car is, let's say $10,000, okay? For example, let's say the first car is $10,000. What about that car is very expensive? What's the price? What do you think? Very expensive.
Too expensive.
No, I mean very. What about very? What's the price? What do you think?
Really?
No, sorry. My point, I want a number. I want a price. For the car number 3 here. For example, the car number 3, the car is very expensive. What's a good price here?
10,000.
Very expensive, 10,000.
No.
هو الexpensive بس كانت 10,000.
أقل
أقل ولا أكثر؟
very أقل.
أكثر. expensive أكثر يعني.
لا مش دكتور، تتكلم أنت عن التو والفيري ولا الإكسبنسيف أصلا؟
I'm talking about تأثير very على كلمة expensive.
يعني غالية هلبة.
أوكي، معناها السعر شنو حيكون؟
أكثر كده.
يعني السعر حيكون دبل.
مش شرط دبل، هو ما فيش رقم معين حقيقة في الإجابة.
يعني
أكثر
من
وخلاص يعني.
أكثر يعني.
أكثر مثلا 15,000 كويس اقتراح، بس ما نقوله 15 مثلا for example. مش ضروري طبعا 15 16 أي رقم يعني، بس أكثر. أهم شيء إنه أكثر من expensive. Okay. But what about too expensive؟ لما نقوله too expensive.
20.
What do you think the price is?
um,
If I say this car is too expensive.
30.
ما زال أكتر يعني نقولوا 50,000.
Actually, if I say too expensive, it should be, for example, 1 million مثلا، حاجة زي هيك. What does this mean? It's 1 million. It's $1 million, this car.
Too expensive.
Yes. So what is the meaning of too when we use too? Is it like very or not like very, or is it different from very?
Different.
How? For example, Manal, yes.
يعني بمعنى to بمعنى very very، بس ما نقدروش نكتبها very very الزوز.
نوعا ما صح كلامك. yes أم ميديا. yes هذه الفكرة اللي قالتها بسمة. I can't buy it لأن مثلا أنت اللي تحتك تو الفلوس الحالية عندك مثلا نقولوا maybe 100,000 مثلا تحتك، يعني حاليا مثلا سيولة $100,000 فرضا. okay. You get the idea. So this is your money. This is what you have now. So your money, for example, your money is 100,000. Okay. Can you buy the $10,000 car? Can you buy it?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can, right? Because you have 100,000. So this means if you have 100,000, you can buy the expensive car, right? يمشي الحال تقدر تشاهد. And what about the very expensive car, 15,000? Can you buy it?
No.
Yes.
Yes,
You
I
can.
مش بتاع مليون.
لا نتكلم على very. The very expensive car, you can buy it. حتى لو كانت very expensive حتى مازال أكثر من 15,000. فرضاً لقيتي another one حتى هي very مثلاً another very expensive car، لكن بدل 15,000 مثلاً كان السعر 50,000 for example. $50,000. Can you buy it?
No.
Why not?
Yes, I can.
Yes, you can. It's
Yes.
very expensive, but you can buy it if you want.
Yes.
If you want to, you can buy it. يعني لو عجبتك فعلا ومقتنعة بالرغم أنها غالية, you have 100,000, you have money, you can buy it, right? But what about this Ferrari, this $1 million Ferrari? Can you buy it?
I can't. No.
You can't.
No.
You can't. Why? Because it's too expensive.
Yes.
You don't have this money. You don't have it. You can't. Do you get the idea? So two, واحدة من الأخطاء الشائعة يعني أغلب الطلبة أحيانا يستعملوا في to يستعملوا فيها زي very وزي really، لكن في الحقيقة to فعلها بروحها. to يعني ضروري معنى داخل المعنى معنى كلمة to أن فوق الاستطاعة. Do you get the idea? So if you say too expensive, it means مفيش قدرة مادية للموضوع هذا, right? So if you go to a restaurant and maybe the meals are $200, $300, you can say this is too expensive for me. I don't want to eat here. It's too expensive. بس مثلا لو الوجبات كانت $50 نقدر نقوله expensive، نقدر نقوله حتى very expensive، لكن في إطار القدرة يعني. Okay, another question. For example, if I say the weather The weather is, okay, I'll give you an example. Oops, we want white. Yes, this tea is, what does it mean? Okay, Basma has a nice example. This is too, the tea is too sweet. What does this mean if you say the tea is too sweet?
The tea more sugar.
Okay, but can you drink it?
No.
No.
No. هي هذه الفكرة. So if you say the tea is too sweet, this means you can't drink it. It tastes very bad. The tea is too sweet. Or for example, if I say the spaghetti is too hot, can you eat it?
No,
What will happen if you eat it?
it's very hot.
But what will happen if you eat it? شنو حيصير؟
هولع هذول هيولع.
You'll burn your tongue, right? هينحرق لسانك. Because it's too hot. You have to wait a bit. You have to wait for it to cool down and then you can eat it. So two always has this meaning, okay? It's very important. All right, so now I want to take you back to the examples here in number 5, okay? So here we have 3 options. So we have it's too big, and we have it's quite big. So we have it's too big, and we have it's quite big, and we have it's very big. So we want to match them. We want to match 1, 2, 3 with A, B, C.
Picture A, it's quite big.
Okay.
B, very big. And
So
C,
A is quite big, correct?
very big.
B, it's very big or it's really big.
Which one?
B.
Correct. Yes, that's right. Mhm.
C, too big.
Too big.
It's too big.
Yes. So my question is, the hat in photo A and the hat in photo B, can you wear them? A and B, can you wear these hats?
Yes.
Yes, you can. You can wear this hat. What about B? Can you wear this hat?
No,
Why not?
because it's too big.
No, I mean B.
Very, very big. Very big.
B, not C.
B.
Yeah.
Yes, B.
You
Very
can.
big.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very big.
Yes,
But
لكن
you can wear it. يعني
Yes.
تلبس عادي يعني. هي صح كبيرة بشكل مبالغ لكن يمشي الحال يعني. But C, can you wear C?
No.
No,
Why not?
Because
it's
too big.
too big.
It's too big. Because if you wear it, you can't see, right?
Yes.
Because your eyes are here, right? So these are your eyes. Your eyes are here. So you can't see because your eyes are here under the hat. So it makes no sense. This is another one. So these are your eyes. So your eyes are here under the hat. Maybe if you have holes, لو مثلا فيها ثقوب الهات, maybe it's okay. But if it's a normal hat, then no, you can't. Okay, so you get the idea, right? The difference between quite big, very, or really. يعني معناهم شبه زي بعض, very and really, and too big. Okay, very nice. Now, I want you to check part B. It says, read both texts and find examples of very, really, quite, too, plus adjective. تمام؟ فعادة هم حنلقوهم قبل الادجectives. فنفس الادجectives اللي بحثنا عليهم قبل شوية حنرجعوا لهم, بس المرة هذه حنحاول نركزوا على الادverbs أو يعني هما كلمة very, really, quite and too.
حنلقوهم before adjective and after verb to be.
Usually, yes, that's the idea. It is very, yes, after verb to be. It is very expensive. It's very good. صح كلامكم الميديا. That's correct. Before an adjective and after verb to be. بس أول شيء خلنا نطلعهم قبل. Let's find them first.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with Jim here.
Really big.
Really
Big.
Correct. Really.
Very expensive.
Very.
Quite hot.
Quite hot.
really good.
Quite hot.
Yes.
And then really
Too
good.
long.
Really good.
Long. Too long.
Really
Quite.
interesting.
Quite
Quite
crowded.
Crowded.
Quite crowded.
Really
Really,
interesting.
really interesting. All right, so these are the adverbs. So we found them. These are the adverbs. Let's find all the adverbs in the second story, the one about Sandra. Let's go. So,
Really happy.
happy.
Correct.
Really cheap.
Correct.
Very dirty.
Yes,
Too
very
small.
dirty.
Really bad.
Too
Too
small.
small.
Really bad.
Really bad.
Too cold.
Too cold.
Too cold.
Really boring.
Really boring.
Quite early.
Quite early. Very young.
Very young.
Right.
Too
Too friendly.
Okay, now I have a question. Correct, Basma. Nearly is an adverb. حتى هي تعتبر adverb. لكن مش مشمولة في درس اليوم. بس لو بنحسبها هي فعلا تعتبر معهم من عائلتهم. Nearly empty. Nearly empty. اوكي. لكن قصتها موضوعها تاني مختلف شوية. بس تعتبر adverb. Nearly يعني في التصنيف زي باقي الكلمات. It's an adverb. Now I have a question. I want you to take a look at this example. She was young and friendly, too friendly. Okay, so friendly, is it a positive adjective or a negative adjective? Is it a good adjective or not a good adjective? Friendly.
Good adjective.
Yes, it's a good adjective, right?
Yes.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to be. So if I say, for example, Ahmed is very friendly, is this good? If I say Ahmed is very friendly,
Yes.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Or if I say Salsabil is really friendly, is this a good thing?
Yes.
Yes, it's a good thing. But here, when Sandra was talking about the receptionist, what did she say? She said she was very young and friendly, too friendly. Is it a good thing to be too friendly?
No.
No.
Yes.
What does it mean, too friendly? What do you think it means?
Negative meaning, not friendly.
Not friendly. هل معناها هي مثلا unfriendly؟ هل القصد أنها هي unfriendly؟
No, but too friendly.
ممكن اجتماع زيادة عن اللزوم.
هي هذه الفكرة صح سلسبيل ممتاز. يعني زايد على اللزوم.
It means more than you want.
more than you want.
Yes.
احنا مش في ليبيا نقولوا واحد للصيقة للصيقة تستعملوا فيها مرات صح ولا للصيقة. هذه هي للصيقة متاع الريسبشن. she's too friendly. This is not a good thing. معناها مش محترمة حدودها هذه. دي قد
زي لما
idea.
تخش المحل ويقعدوا يتبعوا فيك.
yes. Yeah, ممكن تقولي too friendly maybe. So فلاحظوا يعني كلمة too يعني حتى الحاجة الإيجابية تفسدها. يعني حتى friendly هي تعتبر شيء كويس. لما نقوله too friendly خلاص ماش حاجة كويسة. بيبدأ الشكل more than we want. أكثر من اللزوم، أكثر من المطلوب، أكثر من المرغوب. فهذه قصة too. فمهم استعمالها إلا في الأشياء اللي هي خلاص تفسد. حتى الشيء اللي هو في العادة محبوب زي شخص friendly لما يصبح too friendly في مشكلة معناها it's not good. اوكي.
دكتور عندنا مثل هنا بقول الحاجة الذات عين حدها تنقلب ضدها.
صح بالضبط. هي هذه الفكرة. وفكرة to اللي هي تدفع الحاجة اللي فوق الحد. هي هذه وظيفتها. يعني مثلا فرضا I like for example I like to drive fast. مثلا for example I like to drive fast but Ahmed drives too fast. يعني أنا ما عنديش مشكلة مع السرعة بس أحمد بشكل متهور خطير too fast. He drives too fast. It's dangerous. It's not good. Maybe he will kill himself. Maybe he will crash the car. Do you get the idea? ففكرة التو هذا وظيفتها. يعني عكس ال very وال quite وال really. لأن ال very وال quite وال really يقووا في الadjective هيخلوه أقوى ولكن لحد يعني مش لحد يعني مش إلى حد مبالغ أو فايت المرغوب يعني. This is the idea. Okay, so now let's complete the rule. So the rule says we use very, really, quite, and to. We use them after or before verb to be. What do you think?
Before. After, sorry.
Okay, أول شيء let's take a look at an example وخلنا ندوروا verb to be, okay? خلنا نشوف المثال اللي هو هذا اللي اخذناه بتاع too friendly. She was very young and friendly. So where's verb to be in this sentence? She was very young and friendly. Where's verb to be?
Very young.
She was very young and friendly. Do we have verb to be here? Is? Do we have is?
وين المثال ما شفته؟
هذا اللي هو المثال هذا she's very young and friendly مؤشر. This one. Can you see this example? هذا احنا نستعملوه كمثال بس باش نكمل نطبقوا به القاعدة.
was. Verb to be was.
Was, this is verb to be in the past, right? Was. So هل استعملنا الverb to be قبل ال very أو بعد؟
قبل ال very.
قبل.
Yes, so it means we have to say before, right? So this means we use sorry. لأنه لما نتكلم عن الverb فقال لك really, quite and to يعني مجموعة الكلمات هذه هل حتجي قبل ولا بعد الفعل؟ يعني very هل استعملناها قبل ولا بعد verb to be؟
بعد ال verb to be after.
Yes, that's it. So we use them after verb to be. What about the adjectives?
Before.
لا ما نسمعوش فيك الميديا. Before, yes, correct. So we use very, really, quite, and to. We use them before the adjectives. Okay, is it clear? Do you get the idea? صوتي واضح؟ لو
صوت واضح يس.
تمام. أم ميديا صوتك مش واضح. ممكن سماعتك ما تشتغلش أو المايك مش عارف. Okay, now let's do exercise number 6 and let's use some of these rules. Okay, so here, number 6, choose the correct words. So I'm going to read the example here, number 1. So number 1, it says, I can't wear these shoes. I can't wear these shoes. They're too small, right? Okay, Rana, what about number 2?
I want to buy that bag. It's too nice. It's very nice.
Correct. That's correct. Okay, number 3. Salsabil, can you do number 3?
Yes. New restaurant. It is really really cheap.
Really cheap. تمام. الصوت يقطع عندك شوية يا سلسبيل. Can you say it again, please?
Okay. Let's go to the new restaurant. It's really cheap.
Right, good. Okay, what about number 4, Manal?
دكتور ما ممكن نقول تو يعني يكون رخيص شديد ممكن الناس يمشوا؟
No.
يعني
to استعمالها بالضروري يعني فوق المطلوب. يعني شيء غير مرغوب. أي شيء فيه to غير مرغوب.
اوكي تمام.
too cheap معناها ممكن يكون يعني dirty غير مثلا الأكل يعني ممكن غير طازج أو في مشكلة يعني too cheap مش شيء كويس يعني.
اوكي. Number 4. Mom, this food is very good.
Correct. That's right. And number 5, Media, what about number 5?
Sorry, sir, you are too late.
Finish it?
Yes.
مازال باقي المثال.
Oh, sorry, sir, you are too late. The plane left at 6 o'clock.
Correct. Why did we use to here on the media?
Because plane left at 6 o'clock. يعني الأمر مش حلو.
Yes. خلاص فاتت عليه الطيارة.
Yes.
Is a long time.
Yes, he's too late. يعني لو كان late حاجة بسيطة ممكن لحق على الرحلة. بس too late خلاص راحت عليك الرحلة. Okay? So too late is correct. Okay, number 6, Rana.
Sam's got a new job and he is really happy.
Very good. Okay, and number 7, Silsibi.
You are only 15. You are too young to drive.
Correct.
7.
Yeah, 7. Okay, Manan, can you do number 7?
They have got a new flat. It is quite nice.
Right, correct. Okay, so يعني ممكن تلاحظوا الquite وال really وال very نقدر نحطهم في عائلة مع بعض في صنف أو مجموعة مع بعض والتو لوحدها يعني مختلفة. All right, okay. Now let's take a look at exercise number 7. So here it says write the name of a place. Okay, so I think it's any place. Okay, so here they want us to talk about a place. So by place, it means anything. Maybe a shop, maybe a cafe, maybe a restaurant, maybe a mall, shopping center, a park, anything. Think of any place in your city, okay? Maybe a train station, maybe it's even an airport. So
ممكن أقول حاجة بصفة عامة يعني ما إلا اسم.
هو الأفضل أمثلة معينة مثلا مش ضروري طبعا الأسامي تكون صحيحة يعني أي اسم مثلا لو عندكم مطعم أو مقهى أو متجر مشهور أنه هو too expensive مثلا تقدري تتكلمي عليه منال for example or a place أي مكان عام يعني because here it says in your city or town يعني مفتوح المجال أي مكان داخل المدينة أو حتى داخل البلد مش شرط مدينتك أو يعني في البلد. What do you think, Manan? Can you tell us about a place that is too expensive? What do you think?
والله الدكتور أنا ممكن أتكلم بصفة لكن الأسماء بس ما مستحدثة كويس أنا هنا.
Okay, no problem.
مثلا too expensive like hotels and some restaurants.
Okay. Yeah, some restaurants and some hotels are too expensive in my town.
Like cheap.
Quite cheap.
Yes. Popular stores like falafel and bean shops.
Good. So popular shops like falafel and beans
Yes.
shops are quite cheap.
Yes.
Good
Quite
example. Cheap. You can do also number 2. Give us another example of something really beautiful in your city or in your country or and the place which you think is really ugly. Maybe an ugly shop or an ugly cafe or something.
Beautiful intermediate place like a park April Park. Okay.
So, April Park, is it really beautiful?
Yes, beautiful. It's very beautiful. Okay. Intermediate general in my city. It's very beautiful.
You mean in general بصفة عامة أنت تتكلمي صح؟
Yes. Like April Park.
So April Park is really beautiful.
Yes.
And do you have any places that are really ugly or no ugly places?
Ugly? I think no.
No. Okay. All right. Let's see on the media. Can you tell us about a place in your town or city that you think is very clean, and maybe a place or I don't know in your town or city which you think is very dirty?
Where is it, please? بالماوسترا.
Number 3.
3, very dirty or very clean. I think the games land is very clean.
Funland, you mean?
No, games land.
Where's this? Is it near?
Yes, in Siraj.
Okay. Games land. What is it called?
Games land. It's very clean. And very dirty. I think شو يسموا فيها الحدائق المعلقة؟
عندنا حدائق معلقة.
يس اللي في المدينة.
وين؟ أما جهة؟
طريق الشط اللي من جهة اليمين. حدائق معلقة يقولوا.
Okay, yeah, I know that.
Yes. I think is very dirty.
Yeah, many people go and they leave their
Yes.
food and bags and yeah, correct. Okay, that's a good example. Let's see, maybe Rana, can you think of a place in your city or in your town which you think is really boring and a place which you think is really interesting? It could be anything, by the way, cafe, restaurant, school, mall, street, anything you can choose anything.
بصفة عامة.
Yeah, you can talk generally if you want. If you have a specific place, لو عندك مكان معين ممكن أسهل. بس لو بتتكلمي بصفة عامة, it's okay. It's correct.
Really boring. Restaurants.
You think restaurants are really boring?
Yes.
Okay. So restaurants are really boring. What about something that's really interesting?
Funland.
Funland? You think Funland is really interesting? Do you like it?
Yeah.
All right, that's a good example. Funland is really interesting. Okay, so Zabil, can you tell us about a place in your city that you think is too noisy and the place that you think is very quiet?
هي quiet شو معناها؟
Quiet is the opposite of noisy. What does noisy mean in Arabic?
I don't know.
Sorry?
I don't know.
Okay, noisy, it means it's loud. Lots of people talking and lots of cars. Lots of sound. It's very noisy.
ضجيج.
Yes. Quiet is the opposite.
Okay. My school is too noisy. Very quiet, like the mosque.
Like the
mosque.
Mosque?
Yes.
Yeah, you can say mosques are very quiet. It's a good example. And my school is too noisy. All right.
نقدر نقول Tripoli it's too noisy, but Jadu it's very quiet.
Yes, you can. If you want to talk about the whole city, yes.
دكتور ممكن my kids are my home is very noisy.
Sorry, Manan?
I think my kids is my home is very noisy.
My kids are very noisy.
Yes, in my home.
Yeah, my kids in my home are very noisy. And maybe my kids at school are very quiet.
For me, it's very noisy.
Yeah,
correct. Wedding is very noisy.
Weddings are very noisy, correct? Weddings are very noisy. Okay. What about, let's see, who would like to tell us about a place in their city or in their town that's very friendly? Can you think of a very friendly place? Who can think of a very friendly place in their city? Manal, can you tell us about a place that you think is very friendly in your city? Maybe a restaurant or I don't know, cafe or something.
Neil Street.
Sorry?
نيل ستريت، بقول شارع النيل.
Nile Street.
Nile Street is very friendly.
Nile Street is very friendly. Can you think of a place which is very unfriendly? I think it's a bit hard to think of a place that's unfriendly.
Very unfriendly. The same mean too friendly?
No, not the same meaning. Very unfriendly عكس too friendly. هو شخص يعني rude or maybe aggressive، يعني شخص بيكون عدواني مثلا، أقرب للعدوانية. very unfriendly.
Okay.
Can you think of a very unfriendly place? Maybe in Tripoli?
لا. طيب أنا أقولها بالعربي ما أعرفها بالإجنبي.
تمام.
حلبات المصارعة.
Wrestling rings are very unfriendly. It's a good example, maybe. Wrestling rings. Let me write it. Wrestling rings are very unfriendly. Yeah, maybe. You can say police stations maybe are very unfriendly. لو الشرطة عندكم صعبة مثلا. يعني حسب, maybe. Okay, so this is just an example, but you can also use this to talk about places. يعني لو تشوفوا الأمثلة, I think the new shop is quite cheap. Me too. Really? I think it's expensive. I think it's very expensive. This is an example, and here there's disagreement. So يعني لاحظوا مش متفقين على الأسعار. يعني الاثنين الأولين متفقين بس صاحبهم الثالث ما متفقش معاهم. I think the new coffee shop is quite cheap. Me too. Really, I think it's very expensive. So this means he doesn't think it's cheap.
Because لأنه ممكن تعتمد على المقدرة. Yes,
صح. ممكن هم الاثنين الأولين أغنياء، ممكن صاحبهم مش زيهم يعني. أقل مثلا فيشوف فيه expensive الموضوع. So these things are of course different على حسب. So for example.
في حاجة صايرة هلبة عندنا يعني عادية.
yes بالضبط، يعني الحوار هذا شائع في أغلب السكان المدن يعانوا منه. يعني بعض يعتقد أن الشيء رخيص وهو مثلا بالنسبة لغيره مش رخيص. فيختلف يعني أكيد كل شخص وحالته المادية يعني. أوكي، فهذا موضوع quite, really, very, and to. Okay, so this was the point here. All right, now let's do some questions. Here we have some review questions. Let's answer them. Let's start with number 1. So we have adjectives and we want to think, excuse me, we want to think of the opposites. So ill, the opposite is well. What about happy?
Unhappy
or sad. Rich? Poor. Crowded? Empty. Clean? Dirty. Tall? Short. Friendly? Unfriendly. Stupid?
Intelligent.
Correct. Quiet?
Noisy.
Boring? Interesting. Right, very good. Okay, now here in exercise number 2, we want to use fill in the gaps, أكمل, using was, were, wasn't, weren't. So we want to use was, were, wasn't, weren't. Let's start with number 1 here. Okay, Salsabil, you can do number 1.
Okay, I was at home yesterday.
Okay. And number 2, Manal?
For me بالنسبة لي أنا يعني حاجات دي.
Yeah, بالنسبة لك طبعا.
Okay. My family wasn't all together last New Year's Eve.
All right. What about number 3? Lana, what about number 3?
I was with my friends on Saturday evening.
And number 4, Media?
Both my parents was born in the same country.
Okay, and can you read it again?
Both my parents were. Both my parents were born in the same country.
Okay. Number 5. Let's see. Sabi, can you do number 5?
Okay, I wasn't born in the place I live.
Is this true? You weren't born in Libya?
No, I was.
أنا جاوبت wasn't.
في البداية ما فهمتش الجملة، بعدين قلت خلاص عادي
صح، وما حتى هذه صح. Okay, very good. هو طبعا كان الفكرة انه يعني يجاوبوا على حسب على يعني كل واحد تختلف اكيد اجابة على نفسه، بس في العموم الاجابات صحيحة يعني سواء I was at home yesterday or I wasn't. Correct. So you can say my family wasn't all together, or you can say my family was all together last New Year's Eve. I was with my friends. I wasn't with my friends. Both my parents were born in the same country. Both my parents weren't born in the same country. I was born in the place I live in now. I wasn't born in the place I live in now. Okay, very nice. Now let's take a look at exercise number 3. So, okay, now this time we want to write yes/no questions, okay? So, can you see the questions we finished here? We want to write yes/no questions for each one. So, who can change this to a yes/no question? Who would like to try this? Manal, can you make this a yes/no question? Can you change it to a yes/no question?
Number 1.
Yeah.
Were you at home yesterday?
That's correct. Were you at home yesterday? Were you at home yesterday? Let's write it. That's correct. So the first one, if we want to change it to a yes/no question, were you at home yesterday? Right. Okay, what about number 2, Media? How can we change it to a yes/no question?
Was your family all together last New Year Eve?
Correct. That's right. Was your family all together last New Year's Eve? Was your family all together last New Year's Eve? That's correct. What about, yes?
Where your family?
أعتقد اللي في حالة الفاميلي تمشي بالاثنين، لأن الفاميلي من الكلمات الاستثناءات اللي هي تمشي كجمع تمشي كمفرد. عندنا بعض الكلمات زي class، زي team فريق، زي family، لأن الناون نفسه يعني نقدر نعتبروه سواء مفرد أن نتكلموا على عائلة واحدة أو فريق واحد، أو لو بنتكلموا على الأعضاء نفسهم. عرفت الفكرة؟ بس طبعا الأفضلية للصيغة المفردة أفضل.
حتى في الإجابة نفس الشيء.
حتى في الإجابة نفس الشيء. My family weren't together، or مثلا my team weren't happy. لكن لأن في القاعدة تقول أنه يفضل الصيغة المفردة، نعتبرها يعني كعائلة كعائلة وليس أعضائها. عرفت الفكرة؟ منال وضحت الفكرة؟
ايوه وضحت.
تمام. أونو ميديا
تمام.
yeah. So هذا يقولوا لهم plural nouns. خلينا نوريكم الفكرة، نعطيكم فكرة عليها. let me show you، لأن حتى هذا السؤال يعتبر نوعا ما مهم. let me show you. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me show you. Can you see this?
Yes.
So family تعتبر من الناونز يسموا فيهم collective nouns. Okay. collective noun يعني زي noun جمعي يعني. So family is singular، في الحقيقة هي مفردة، يعني زي طريقة إجابتنا احنا لما قلنا wasn't. تمام، هذه الملحوظة الأولى أن هي singular. بس بصفة عامة عادة لما تتكلمي على عائلتك قالك when talking about a family the correct pronoun is they. بس لو استعملتها ككلمة المفروض تاخذ استعمال it، زي ما احنا يعني نفس الطريقة اللي عملناها احنا يعني اللي هي it was. My family was مثلا. في أيضا مجموعة يعني كلمات nouns جمعية أو nouns collective nouns نفس القصة يعني، سواء مثلا team، مثلا media، مثلا group. يعني ملحوظة جانبية ممكن ما تهمناش بشكل كبير حاليا في المستوى هذا، بس يعني ممكن تقابلكم في المستقبل. هذه قصة ال collective nouns. أوكي نرجع. So راحت الإجابة، خلينا نرجعها. إذا اتفقنا number 2 was your family all together. وجاوبنا number 1 were you at home. كان السؤال الأول were you at home. and you at home last night. And number 2 was your family. Your family all together on New Year's Eve. يعني الفكرة هو المرة الأولى استعملناها كمفرد was your family، لكن لو بنتكلم عليها مرة تانية يعني حنستعملوا they، ما عادش حنستعملوا it. was your family together? Yes it was. يعني الشخص اللي حيجاوب بيقول مثلا yes it was, they were very happy, they مش عارف شنو، they came, they talked, they brought, they. فنرجع ل they. وصلت الفكرة قصة family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, now number 3. Silsabil, can you change number 3 into a question?
Okay. Were you with your friends on Saturday evening?
That's correct. Were you with your friends on Saturday evening? That's correct. Okay, number 4. Okay, Numedia, you can do number 4.
Were your parents born in the same country?
Right, correct. Were your parents born? Were your parents born in the same country? Correct. Right, very good. Number 5. Okay, Rana, you can do number 5.
Were you born in the place? Were you born in the place you live in now?
Correct. Were you born? You were born in the place you live in now. Were you born in the place you live in now? So these are yes/no questions, of course, using was and where. Okay, so these are yes/no questions. Okay, very nice. So let's take a look at number 4. Okay, so number 4, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do this. So here you have to use the past simple. So this means you have to change all the verbs in the box. Do you understand? This means all of these verbs, they have to change. You can't use them like that because the story, all of the story, the whole story is in the past. You get the idea?
Yes.
So I'm going to give you a minute. I'll be back. I'll leave for a minute and come back. But I want you to think of your answers and then we'll check them together, okay?
Okay.
So you can think of them and we'll check them together. Okay, so be right back.
السماعة. كده كويس؟
ايه هيك واضح صوتك.
عندي سماعة مع إنها أخذتها جديدة والله، بس شكلها بها مشكلة.
عارفة حتى أنا غير نشوف فيك.
Okay, let's see your answers. Okay, let's. Okay, so Media, you can do the first part until here, and then Sarsabil can complete. Okay, you can start.
I was born in 1940 and my family left in London in 1959. I met my wife Margaret at a party and we got married on April 5th, 1960.
Okay, so number 2, and my family. What did you use in number 2?
Sorry, leave left, صح?
Yes, correct.
Lived. Did.
You want to use lived?
I think first. Yes.
Okay, صوتك مش واضح يا ميديا، ممكن المايك.
Yes. My family lived in London.
Lived in London, okay. And you said I met
my wife Margaret.
Okay, so we used meet. And we got married, right?
Yes.
All right, nice. Okay. Okay, Salsabil, what about number 5? You can continue the story.
We had
Okay.
our first children.
Child. So we had our first child. What does child mean, Salsabil? What does it mean, child?
Child.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Is it the same as children? What does children mean?
No.
But what does children mean?
أطفال.
And child? What's the singular of children? What's the singular of children?
Child?
Child, right? So child is the singular of children. Okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, we had our first child.
Mm-hmm.
Helen went to Australia
Okay.
for holiday.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And he met
Okay.
her husband.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They
So how many verbs have you got left?
was and moved.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So what do you want to use in number 8?
Okay. They moved.
Again, please.
Move.
Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
No.
They moved to Perth. Mm-hmm.
And our
Granddaughter.
granddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca, was
Correct. Yes.
born yearly.
Okay. Nice. Okay, let's read all of this from the beginning to the end. Manan, would you like to read the story from the beginning to the end, please?
Okay. I was born in 1940 and my family lived in London in 2059. I met my wife, Margaret, at a party and we got married on April 5th, 1960. We had our first child, Helen, in 1962. Helen went to Australia on holiday in 1986 and meet her husband there. They moved to Perth in 1990 and our granddaughter Rebecca was born 2 years late.
2 years later. Right. Okay, Rana, can you please read the story for us?
Okay. I was born in 1940 and my family lived in London. In 1959, I met my wife, Margaret, at a party, and we got married on April 5th, 1960. We had our first child, Helen, in 1962. Helen went to Australia on holiday in 1986 and met her husband there. They moved to Perth in 1990, and our granddaughter Rebecca was born 2 years later.
Nice, very good. Okay, so this is a short story in the past simple, of course. Now let's take a look at number 5. This is very good. Okay. So we want to make questions. Can you see the bold parts? These
Yes.
parts. So we want to make questions about these words. Okay. So we want to make questions about these words. Remember that this story is about Stan. So maybe you want to know who Stan is. Remember Rebecca? We talked about Rebecca and Margaret and what's her name? What's the mother's name? Can you remember the mother's name?
Helen.
Mother Margaret.
Yeah.
Daughter Helen.
Yeah. Helen, Margaret, and Rebecca. Remember? So Stan, this is Rebecca's grandfather. This is Margaret's husband. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to make questions about these bold words. So look at the examples. So when was Stan born? When was Stan born? So Stan was born in 1940, right? And the second question, if you take a look at the second question, where did his family live? So we can say his family lived in London, right? Okay, number 3 here, a party. Who can make a question about this?
I am.
Okay, Manan.
Where did he meet his wife?
Great, correct. Let's write the questions. Let's put them here. Where did he meet his wife?
Yes.
Let's write it here. Where did he meet his wife? So this is question number 3. Where did he meet his wife? And what's the answer, Manan?
He met her at the party.
He met her. He met her at the party. At a party, right? So he met her at a party. Good. Okay, April 5th, 1960. What's the question here? Media, what's the question?
Where did he married?
Where?
Where did he married?
Are you sure it's where?
When, sorry. When did he married?
You forgot a verb. When did he something married?
When did he get married?
Correct. When did he get married? Nice. Okay. 1962. Rana, can you make a question here? 1962.
Where?
So you have to make a question about 1962. How can you
When
make
did he have our when did he have our first child?
Your first child?
your first child.
My first child.
No. His
Yes.
first child.
Right. When did he have his first child? This is a good question, but there's another question we can use here, right? But let me write your question because it's correct. When did he have his first child? Or we can do it in another way. Who can do this question 1962 in another way? Who can do it in another way? Salsabil, can you try and make a question about 1962? Yeah. But try to talk about Helen. Try to say something about Helen.
When did Helen she or he?
She. Helen is a she.
Okay. When did Helen born?
تمام. كويس. انت جاوبتي 50% اجابه صح. تمام.
Can I try?
Okay, let's give Salsabil one last chance. Salsabil, born صح وهيلين صح، لكن رتبي سؤال بس. غيري شويه. كيف يسألوا كيف نديروها أسئلة البورن عادة؟
وين السؤال على متى صح؟
انت حتسألي على 1962.
ايه. I don't know.
Okay, Media, you can do it.
لحظة، هو هنا المعنى we had our first child Helen child ولا الوايف؟
ما احنا القصة كلها على ستان اللي هو الجد أصلا، جدهم ستان.
الجد ستان، الجدة مارغريت.
Yes.
هيلين بنتهم.
Yes.
Okay. أنا كنت نسحبها when did her daughter born؟
born ما نقدرش نستعمل معاها did.
When did she born؟
كويس، لكن غيري did.
was.
When was she born?
Yes. When was she born؟ ولو منكونوا يعني مثلا أدق شوية بدل ما نقولوا شيء نذكرها بالاسم أحسن ولا؟
When was Helen born?
That's it. بالرغم من السؤال اللي قبله صحيح راه. When did he have his first child؟ هو صح. When was Helen born؟ لأن لو تلاحظوا الإجابة حتكون نفسها للسؤالين هادو. صح ولا؟
ولو بنديروها when was her daughter born؟
We can't say her يعني الكلام على ستان، الكلام على الجراندفاذر يعتبر his. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
هذا ليش السؤال الأول when did he have his first child؟ يعني أمتى أنجب ابنته الأولى؟ يعني الكلام كله على ستان، القصة كلها أصلا على ستان اللي هو جد ريبيكا يعني. وحتى سؤال تاني يعطي نفس الإجابة، يعني سواء سألنا على السنة اللي انجابت فيها الابنة، تمام، اللي هي 1962، أو سواء سألنا على أمتى ولدت ابنته الأولى، هو نفس الإجابة صح ولا؟ هي نفس الفكرة يعني، حتعطيكم نفس الإجابة 1962 في الحالتين. منال يس منال، أعتقد سماعتك رجعت، سماعتك بالشحن منال، هل تستعمل بلوتوث سماعتك؟
لا صوت عادي. مني أنا؟ لا أنا الزنة سامعاه معنا، ما مني أنا سامعة برضو الزنة دي.
نجربوا نديروا لك نعملوا لك شوية ميوت ونجربوا. هدوء، أنا هم منك يا منال. سلسبيل can you say something؟ سلسبيل اوكي لا مش منك وانا رنا مش منها، كلكم فاتحين المايك ومش منكم. منال
تسمع في الزيج ولا شنو؟
تسمع في حاجة توا؟
لا.
معناها من منال can you unmute؟ شيل الميوت يا منال.
اوكي كده انا طلعت السماعة كده كويس.
كويس. هو زنين بسيط يعني، مش بكثرة، في مرات أسوأ يكون، لكن حاجة بسيطة. لا
تمام.
كويس تمام هيك. اوكي اذا السؤالين الاخيرات كويسات. Let's check Australia. How can we make a question about Australia?
Yeah.
Okay, you can try Manal.
Okay. When did Helen go to Australia?
هذا كان هذا السؤال حتكون إجابته 1986 right؟ لكن احنا مطلوب نسأله على أستراليا نفسها، مش على السنة، نسأله على المكان. You want to ask about the place.
طيب when did Helen go to؟
تمام، بس أنت استعملتي when. when يسأل على الوقت.
طيب where yes where did Helen go؟
كملها في أي مناسبة نتكلم احنا حاليا.
when ما فهمت مناسبة شنو؟
نقصد أنت تمام سألتي على where كويس. بس يعني هي أنت يعني السبب اللي راحت عليه إيش كان؟
holiday.
تمام، ذكري في السؤال كيف حيكون سؤالك؟
طيب where
تمام
did okay أي صح. where did Helen
صح
on holiday.
نسيتي الفعل الverb. where did Helen
الفعل is when did Helen
ضروري من استعمال الverb بعد subject.
ما was الطي معدد صح؟
لا مش was.
ما هيلين ما شي
تمام، والverb وين الفعل؟
go.
Yes. So where did Helen go on holiday? ونقدر حتى نضيف السنة عادي. Where did Helen go on holiday in 1986؟ لأن احنا حاليا نسأله عن مكان.
Yes.
تمام, very good. What about her husband?
Can I try?
Yeah.
Where did Helen meet her husband?
تمام, لو قلنا السؤال هذا إجابته مش حتكون her husband, يعني حتكون الإجابة she met her husband in Australia. تمام, هذا يعتبر سؤال تاني حتى هو ممكن لأستراليا. تمام, اللي هي where did she meet her husband. خلينا نكتبه she meet her husband. هادو الاثنين يمشي حالهم كإجابة خلينا نحطهم في صندوق، لأن الاثنين يعطوا نفس المعنى، اللي هي يعطوا نفس الإجابة سوري، اللي هي إجابتهم حتكون أستراليا. يعني وين راحت وين التقت بزوجها، الاثنين إجابتهم أستراليا.
يعني الإجابة لازم تكون her husband.
Yes.
Who did
كملي.
who
صح؟
did she meet on Australia? In Australia.
Correct. That's it. Who did she meet in Australia? That's the right question. Australia. And the answer is her husband. Who did she meet? She met her husband. Good. Okay. Silsabil, can you make a question about Perth? Perth is a city. زي طرابلس ولا أي مدينة تانية يعني. مدينة وخلاص.
أوكي. السؤال لازم تكون إجابته هذه.
Yes. صح.
Okay. When did she go in 90?
تمام.
كيف
1990.
99.
لكن أنت استعملتي when ولا where تو في سؤالك.
Okay. When?
أنت سوري هو المفروض when ولا where؟
مفروض where.
صح.
عشان مكان.
صح.
Yeah. Okay. Where did she go in 1990?
تمام.
1990.
صح. لكن بدل شيء لأنها تو خلاص أصبحت متزوجة مع رجلها ماش بروحها. صح ولا؟
One day.
أيوة. عودي من الأول.
Where did they go in 1990?
تمام مقبول هكذا مقبول، لكن في ممكن بدل go في فعل أحسن شوية. أيوة. لأن هم انتقلوا في الحقيقة، هم ما راحوش يعني هيك وخلاص. right؟ رغم أن حتى هذا مقبول جدا السؤال، ما فيش شيء غلط هكذا يعني where did they go، لكن الموف أحسن شوية لأن حاولوا مدينة ثانية. هم كانوا تلاقوا في ما قلناش وين تلاقوا، ممكن في سيدني ولا مش عارف، لكن عنهم راحوا المدينة الثانية هذه. Very good. Where did they move in 1990? Where did they move to? المفروض في to. ضروري استعمال to. Where did they move to? Okay, and the last question. The answer has to be 2 years later.
Yeah.
Okay.
When was
Rebecca born?
Yes. Yes. When was Rebecca born? Correct. Okay. When was Rebecca born? She was born 2 years later. Okay. So all of this is of course past simple. مخلط سواء اللي هو past simple بالdid ولا حتى اللي هو بالwas and were. Okay. So this is past simple. Okay, let's take a look at okay, أعتقد نلحقوا نكملوا هذا. Number 6, choose the best response. حنختاروا الإجابة الصحيحة. Okay, let's do them A and B. I'm going to read number 1. I was ill last weekend. Oh dear. What about number 2? We went away for the weekend. What's the right response?
Oh, great.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Oh, great.
Mm.
Okay, number 3. I went to the cinema last night.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Mhm. Number 4. I met the president of the USA last month.
You are joking.
You're joking.
You're joking. Yeah. And the last one. I stayed in all weekend.
Oh, right.
All right.
All right. Mhm.
or what a shame لو هو مش ديما متعود على إنه يقعد في الحر.
Yeah, maybe that's correct. Yeah, maybe that's right. If he's not used to it. Can you read number 3 on the media, please?
I went to the cinema last night.
Can you read number 2 on the media?
We went away for the weekend.
Okay, صوت منك انت يا on the media.
في دوشة مني.
احنا اتهمنا منال مسكينة مظلومة. ممكن منال انت الصوت يطلع وقت اللي تتكلمي فقط، لو ما تكلمتيش ما يطلعش الصوت.
ممكن متغطية يعني ما أعرفش، مش مدايرة سماعة.
هذا السبب يعني، لو مش مدايرة سماعة هذا السبب، لأن الصدى متاع كلامك يطلع فيرجع فيدير في زي نوع من الضجة
ممكن
لما
من
تتكلم.
الهاتف، نغير الهاتف، ممكن من الهاتف.
لا هو مش مشكلة يعني، عادي. هو مش صوت مزعج يعني بشكل كبير، لكن زي نوع من الصدى يعني.
حنسكر المايك ونفتحه وقت اللي بنتكلم بس.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so this is the revision of Unit 6. In our next lesson, we are going to talk about movies, we'll talk about films, we'll talk about James Bond. Yeah. Okay, so this is in our next lesson. Next lesson حتى هو حيكون past simple يعني ما كملناش مازال موضوع past simple. So we will still talk about the past simple next lesson. All right, so I'll see you on Saturday. Have a good weekend and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.